All right. Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the Wise Dome podcast. This is your host Imhotep. It's now Tuesday, May 28th, 6:44 p.m. All right. So I just want to speak on, a couple of things as it relates to Mark Golding's current situation. Yeah, man. Big up to Maat Root for checking in. For those who are subscribers to the platform, yeah, man, I just want to say thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the support. I just want to make it clear as well that my position on politics when it comes on to politics, I think that we should approach politics from a informed perspective. I don't think that we should approach politics from a tribalistic approach, where once we support one party above the other, that party can do no wrong. I am for one who thinks that when it comes down to politics and our political affiliation or persuasion, yeah, we should take an objective stance as it relates to the truth, as it relates to the right thing being done, right? Instead of accepting everything to be so, even when the truth is staring us in our face. I just want to speak a little bit on the Mark Golding dual allegiance situation because one, um, it is a matter of serious national importance. Irrespective of how we want to feel about it, it is a matter that has garnered national attention. And we have seen a lot of people, a lot of legal minds weigh in, and I also want to speak in the context of Hugh Wildman and Abe Dabdoob. They are saying that Mark Golding's situation, is untenable in the sense that it goes against the Constitution. But not only Mark Golding, this also includes any other member of parliament that is a dual citizen, irrespective of them being in the Commonwealth. So, pretty much what they are saying is that, in the Commonwealth, it doesn't really matter. The Jamaican Constitution speaks about you not being qualified to serve as a dual national. So that is just what Mr. Hugh Wildman is saying. Mr. Abe Dabdoob is saying that as well. That once you are a dual citizen in the Commonwealth, the Jamaican Constitution says something is wrong with that. For those who are here and for those who will see this stream after, yeah, man, please remember to just drop a like. I greatly appreciate it. This is a platform where I'm definitely, building it up. So if you're new, you can also like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that. So I just want to put some context into what's going on with the whole Mark Golding saga, because irrespective of how we think, it is going to have legal implications, and that's applicable to each and every one in terms of politicians having dual nationality, so to speak, because the Jamaican Constitution, right? The Jamaican Constitution, and again, now when it comes on to constitutions, I think it's all about interpretation sometimes as well. Yeah, because that's the reason why people go to the courts and things like that. All right, so this is a Jamaica Observer article, right? And this is where I found it to be interesting. And this is Mr. Hugh Wildman. And he's saying pledging allegiance is the problem in the dual citizenship debate. And he says the issue of dual citizenship has been a topical issue in Jamaica for quite some time. And prominent attorney Hugh Wildman, attorney at law, says the public must be aware that the Constitution of Jamaica is against the pledging of allegiance to a foreign state or power for those who want to be parliamentarians and senators. Wildman, who is an expert on the Constitution, told the Gleaner on Tuesday, I think it is my duty to explain to the public how sections 39 and 40 of the Jamaica Constitutions are to be interpreted. He points out that section 39 is the qualification section for one to be eligible to be elected to the lower house or become a senator. The section stipulates that one is eligible to be elected to the House of Representatives or nominated to the Senate, which is the upper house, if one is a Commonwealth citizen and living in the country for 12 months before the election or nomination. In short, the Jamaican Constitution does not recognize Jamaican citizenship as the basis for election or nomination to Parliament, he explained. Asked what the importance of that was, Wildman said it meant that if you were born in a Commonwealth country and came to Jamaica and lived in the country for at least 12 months prior to nomination, you are eligible to be elected or nominated to Parliament because you are a Commonwealth citizen. However, if you are born in Jamaica and go to another Commonwealth country and take out Canadian or British citizenship and come back to Jamaica, you want to be elected to the lower house or nominated to the Senate, you have to renounce that Canadian or British citizenship because you would have been disqualified under Section 40 of the Constitution. The reason being, you would have to pledge allegiance by your own act to a foreign state, even though that foreign state is a Commonwealth country. In other words, what Mr. Wildman is saying, even though you were born in Jamaica, if you were to go to the UK or Canada, right, and pretty much apply and say, be quote unquote a citizen, naturalized based on that basis, or even if, even in the Mark Golan's situation where his father, he got it but based on his father's qualifications. Mr. Wildman is saying that the fact that Mark Golan went ahead and renewed his passport is in itself a pledge of allegiance, so that is where it becomes problematic based on Mr. Wildman's perspective. Let me just continue reading this. Similarly, if you were given citizenship at birth in a Commonwealth country, and when you become an adult, you renew the passport, then if you return to Jamaica and you want to enter Parliament, you will have to give up that passport that was renewed. The difference between Commonwealth countries and the United States or any other non-Commonwealth countries is that if you were born in any of those countries, you will not be able to run for Parliament of Jamaica unless you give up that citizenship and acquire a Commonwealth passport, such as a Jamaican passport, because Jamaica is a Commonwealth country and you must live in the country for at least 12 months. So that's the criteria as well to become a member of Parliament or a senator. You must be of a Commonwealth country and you must reside in Jamaica for at least 12 months. This is how section 39 and 40 are to be interpreted, Wildman added. Commenting further on the issue, Wildman said the key thing is that the Constitution is against pledging of allegiance to another sovereign state. And when we talk about sovereign state, Britain or the UK is a sovereign state. Jamaica is a sovereign state. Canada is a sovereign state. Australia, all the Commonwealth countries, even though they are part of the Commonwealth, they are all sovereign states. And when we talk about sovereign state, we are talking about Jamaica being a sovereign state in the sense that, yes, we know that the king is head of state and the governor general is the de facto head of state because he represents the king. However, we have a prime minister who runs the affairs of the country. Yes, we can agree that it's done on behalf of the crown. However, when it comes on to a sovereign state, it simply means that laws that are passed in British Parliament are not transferred to Jamaica. In other words, if they say, okay, we want to ban water bottles in England, so we're going to pass a law in the House of Lords or whatever. When that law is passed, it does not transcend to the Jamaican, state to say, okay, Britain banned plastic bottles, so therefore Jamaica has to. No, that's not the case. Those laws are passed and it's applicable to the UK. So that in essence makes Jamaica in this context a sovereign state. So I just want to continue. What seems to have caused the confusion, says Wildman, is that people are of the view that if you go and pledge allegiance to a Commonwealth country and come back to Jamaica to run for parliament, you are not disqualified. Wildman reiterates that you are disqualified because you would have pledged allegiance to a foreign power by your own act, and the Constitution prohibits that. So technically, Mr. Wildman is saying Mark Golden renewing his passport is in itself a pledge of allegiance. And whether we want to agree or not, let's look at the logics of the argument. The logics of the argument is, if you apply for a British passport in the context of Mark Golden, you are doing what? You are either updating your status or adjusting your status. So Mark Golden, by virtue of him renewing his passport, because remember he said that he explicitly made it clear and he unequivocally made it clear that him renewing his passport, he got it as a child, and as such he pretty much went ahead and he renewed it. At the end of the day, he thinks that he has done nothing wrong, right? And at the same time, the Constitution is saying that, well, you know what? Something is wrong here. This is a serious matter, and therefore it's not something that we can, sidestep or go around. Something is clearly wrong here, and you cannot be a dual. So that is what they are pretty much saying here, Mr. Wildman is saying. All right, so I just want to continue this. Right. So, commenting on the issue further, right? He says that what seems to have caused the confusion, says, is that people are of the view that if you go and pledge allegiance to a Commonwealth country and come back to Jamaica to run for parliament, you are not disqualified. Wildman reiterates that you are disqualified because you have pledged allegiance to a foreign power by your own act, and the Constitution of Jamaica prohibits that. Section 39 of the Constitution states that, subject to the provisions of Section 40 of this Constitution, any person who at the date of appointment or nomination for election, A, is a Commonwealth citizen of the age of 21 years or upwards, and B, has been ordinarily resident in Jamaica for immediately preceding 12 months, shall be qualified to be appointed as a senator or elected as a member of the House of Representatives, and no other person shall be so qualified. That's what Section 39 says. Section 40, subsection 2 states that no person shall be qualified to be appointed as a senator or elected as a member of the House of Representatives who, A, is by virtue of his own act under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power or state. So what he's saying right here is that by virtue of Mark Golden renewing his passport, that in itself is an act of allegiance. So that is a very interesting. All right, so I just want to share this as well, because this is a reflection of how our politics can be sometimes. This is the PAC, right, meeting, the Public Accounts Committee meeting, where, for those who remember the news, 400 million was spent to rent a building And at the same time, well, 400 million was spent to rent a couple of buildings or lease them, right? But at the same time, no one has occupied them. So they are actually speaking on it. And what I found very shocking is that one of the buildings, the cost of renovation in order for them to lease it is $1 billion. So I just want to share this for some context. So let me play this.
It will probably take us somewhere close to $1 billion.
To what?
$1 billion. Yeah.
1 billion to retrofit.
Yeah.
Wow. And when do you anticipate having the space ready for occupancy?
We're looking at September 2025. That's the best estimate we have right now.
Has there been
subject to approval and so on?
I mean, just hearing what you have said, 451 on the lease, close to 1 billion retrofitting. Has there been a cost benefit analysis done to determine whether it would have been better for the government to build its own building or to use an alternative, given the cost? Because we're talking about close to 1.5 billion for both lease and retrofitting by the time you occupy.
When we started out, we had actually pursued the acquisition of property, which we were not able to find suitable property within the confines of Mandeville. We were seeing things on the outskirts, but we were conscious of the fact that for some taxpayers, it would mean, two transport to get to anything outside of the town. We didn't find anything suitable. We also looked at other properties, and in Mandeville, we did not. Two of the constraints that affected us would have been parking. And we weren't finding the square footage or the acreage that would allow us, if we were to build out, to have the kind of parking that we need for our services. And that was how we ended up in this arrangement. Right, from Mandeville, to date, we have spent 451 million. We are at the point of...
Is that, just to be clear, 451 on what, lease?
Lease, yes.
Lease, okay.
And we had restarted the bidding process, and we expect that to be closed by the 29th of this month, which is tomorrow.
And the bidding process is for the retrofitting?
Right.
Okay. 29th
of May.
Of May, so
yes.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
A fair amount of work on our contract was done by the landlord, and they had put in elevators, bathrooms, flooring, etc. But finishing the works is going to be our main responsibility.
And what is the anticipated cost for the retrofitting of the space?
It will probably take us somewhere close to $1 billion.
To what?
$1 billion, yeah.
1 billion to retrofit?
Yes.
Wow. And when do you anticipate having the space ready for occupancy?
We're looking at September 2025. That's the best estimate we have right now.
Has there been...
This is subject to approval and so on.
I mean...
Okay, so I am pretty sure you guys have heard that. So pretty much $1 billion to retrofit a building that they actually want to rent, some taxpayers' money kind of settings, right? Yeah, definitely $1 billion for that repair. Now, these are things that are not made public until they sit at the table and discuss it, and I do understand that as well. However, I think that taxpayers' monies, $1 billion to repair a building that they lease, hundreds of millions have been spent in lease agreements so far, and it's not occupied. So in essence, that's more like $1.5 billion is being spent on leasing buildings and repairing them. I noticed the gentleman said that they were mindful of the double transportation for the public. Now, I don't think double transportation for the public, should be a factor in, say, well, spending $1 billion to retrofit or repair a building that you are leasing. I think $1 billion could build us a very good state-of-the-art tax office. I think $1 billion, 1.4 billion would definitely be a good spend. Build a nice building for everybody. How we know, said Jamaica government owns it or the people owns it. But we're talking about 1.5 billion being spent so far, approximately, and at the same time, we don't own these buildings. So $1 billion, that's the estimated cost to do the work, and they have spent over 400 million in leasing so far, and none of these have been occupied. So it's just a reflection of the Jamaican society in terms of how the public funds are spent and disbursed and how it is managed, because that is a lot of money to be leasing a building and to retrofit it in order for there to be occupancy, and then at the same time you do not own the building. Over $1 billion, that's a lot of money. But people should really look at these situations in their relevant perspectives and say, well, the reality is that this can't look good. $1 billion to retrofit, this can't look good. But it's just a reflection of the Jamaican political landscape as well when it comes down to accountability and how taxpayers' money are spent. At the end of the day, it's incumbent on the taxpayers to let it be known that they are not happy with how these funds are being spent. Let's get back to the Mark Golding situation. Mark Golding has been pushing back. There have been calls for him to renounce his UK passport. He has been pushing back somewhat, to the point where he said that he will not give it up unless asked to do so by the public. But again, now, as them would say, time will definitely come back and say things will definitely come back to say, well, but Mark, why is it that you are so attached to this passport situation? All right, so I just want to share this as well, just for some context. So check this out. This is a Mark Golding interview on The Fix, right? Last year.
That has a history where our relationship with the British monarch and with Britain came out of slavery and colonialism. We are a country that needs to stand up and show that we are mature, that we believe in ourselves and our people and our abilities to govern ourselves. And there are major practical problems with having a final court of appeal in London. You need a visa to go to London. True. You don't have a right to that visa. You have to apply and they can turn you down.
You have to pay X amount of money.
You have to pay X amount just to get it.
I'm in the process now, Mark Dorman.
And so I had to go through it myself because I visited England in November on a tour, a diaspora tour as we called it. And I had to go and apply and get my visa. And it was a pretty demeaning process, I must tell you.
Oh, I thought you were born in England.
I was born in UC.
Oh, your father was born in England.
My father was born in England.
Oh, okay, but you renounced, or because I thought that you could get British citizenship.
I'm born under our constitution. You can be eligible to be in parliament as long as you're not a citizen of a foreign country, which means a non-Commonwealth country. Okay. Yeah, but I was born here. I have a Jamaican passport. As a child, I also had a British passport and so on. But I don't intend to maintain that passport, because I feel in the position I have, it was a convenient travel document in the past, but I think I can't be holding this position and maintaining that. So I'm not.
So
I don't intend to.
So you said that you had to.
All right. So I'm hoping that you guys heard what he said a while ago, right? I'm gonna play it one more time so that for those who missed that part, they can clearly hear and understand what he's saying.
Journey with you, or if I want to take you out somewhere, and we're not in a very trusting relationship anyway. And
Careful,
you
Marky
say
Mark.
to me, are we going to Montego Bay, or
Yeah.
our relationship with the British monarch and with Britain came out of slavery and colonialism? We are a country that needs to stand up and show that we are mature, that we believe in ourselves and our people and our abilities to govern ourselves. And there are major practical problems with having a final court of appeal in London. You need a visa to go to London.
True.
You don't have a right to that visa. You have to apply and they can turn you down.
You have to pay X amount of money.
You have to pay X amount just to get it.
I'm in the
And
process now, Mark Dorman.
And so I had to go through it myself because I visited England in November on a tour, a diaspora tour as we called it. And I had to go and apply and get my visa. And it was a pretty demeaning process, I must tell you.
Oh, I thought you were born in England.
I was born in UC.
Oh, your father was born in England.
My father was born in England.
Oh, okay, but you renounce, or because I thought that you could get British citizenship.
You
had to renounce it. Yeah,
I'm born under our constitution. You can be eligible to be in parliament as long as you're not a citizen of a foreign country, which means a non-Commonwealth country.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was born here. I have a Jamaican passport. As a child, I also had a British passport and so on. But I don't intend to maintain that passport, because I feel in the position I have, it was a convenient travel document in the past, but I think I can't be holding this position and maintaining that. So I'm not.
So
I don't intend to.
So you said that you had to do a
Okay, so that is opposition leader Mark Golding admitting that his position holding a UK passport, it's not the ideal one for him. It's not one he is comfortable with, and he will be taking actions to give it up. This is about a year ago. Yeah, man, big up to Vioni Hall, James Bond, respect for the check-in. Yeah, so the problem here is that Mark Golding himself saw that it was a problem, and he realized it was a problem from a very early stage.
And there are major practical problems with having a final court of appeal in London. You need a visa to go to London. True. You don't have a right to that visa. You have to apply and they can turn you down.
You have to pay X amount of money.
You have to pay X amount just to get it.
I'm in the process now, Mark Dorman.
And so I had to go through it myself because I visited England in November on a tour, a diaspora tour as we called it. And I had to go and apply and get my visa. And it was a pretty demeaning process, I must tell you.
Oh, I thought you were born in England.
I was born in UC.
Oh, your father was born in England.
My father was born in England.
Oh, okay, but you renounce, or because I thought that you could get British citizenship.
You
had to renounce it. Yeah,
I'm born under our constitution. You can be eligible to be in parliament as long as you're not a citizen of a foreign country, which means a non-Commonwealth country. Okay. Yeah, but I was born here. I have a Jamaican passport. As a child, I also had a British passport and so on. But I don't intend to maintain that passport, because I feel in the position I have, it was a convenient travel document in the past, but I think I can't be holding this position and maintaining that. So I'm not.
So
I don't intend to.
So you said that you had to do a tour. You had to apply for.
Yeah,
really.
Of course I did, like everybody else, and I had to go through that process. And to be honest, I did not enjoy it. So, but going back to the issue,
you have a vagina line,
Yeah, well, I mean, I know.
Well, you,
I am not aware of that process involved any kind of special treatment. when I was, I mean, maybe getting the appointment quickly, because I was, we were leaving fairly soon, and there was some delays in the process, and I did ask if we could get it expedited, but the actual process of going there and doing the biometrics and all that was it felt like everybody else. But anyway, the point I was making was.
All right, so video courtesy of the fix. No copyright intended. Okay, so this is Mark Golden saying that, he had to, do like everyone else in terms of applying for his UK visa. Now, this interview is one interview that will definitely come back, and when he looks back at it, he will realize, well, say, I said these things, so at the end of the day, I don't know why I am trying to defend this thing when a year ago, I myself admitted that, it is not the ideal thing for me to have. Now, what Mark Golden said about the eligibility of it is that Hugh Wildman and Mr. Abe Dabdoob, and these are two, top lawyers or top legal minds. They are saying that that's not the case about the Commonwealth citizens having that dual thing in Jamaica as well, because based on section 39 and 40 of the Constitution, anyone who has a dual, they are ineligible for Parliament. So Mark Golden, again, he is a brilliant legal mind as well. He was an attorney general or justice minister, whichever, right? But he was affiliated with a lot of implementations of laws and writing of laws and things like that. So he is of that impression that he is okay being the way it is right now legally. However, from a moral perspective, he's saying that he doesn't feel that it's the right thing for him to have. So when you look at the whole situation from Mr. Wildman and Mr. Dabdoob's perspective, having a UK passport is pledging allegiance to the crown in terms of your status. So again, now that is a situation that it's gonna be around for a little bit. That's just the reality of things. I don't think that they should really be pushing the envelope with this. I don't think that they should really look on social media. Looking on social media cannot be a case where they are expecting and say, well, social media says I should not give it up because the pro-PNP people on social media says so I'm not gonna give it up. No, at the end of the day, these people on social media cannot move the needle for the People's National Party come next election, because majority of them are overseas. Majority of them have never voted in their lives. Majority of them are not eligible to vote at the end of the day. And these are the people trying to tell Mark Golden what to do and don't give it up and things like that. And trust me, when the smoke clears on this one, a lot of these people are going to look into themselves and say, well, at the end of the day, yeah, man, it's the right thing for Mark Golden to give it up. Because it doesn't matter what they say on the social media space. We're talking about the morals and the ethics and the principle and also the Constitution. And based on what Mr. Wildman and Mr. Dabdoob is saying right now, there is an issue with section 39 and 40 as it relates to Mark Golden's status. Not only Mark Golden's status, but the status of any other member of parliament or someone who is in the Senate, so to speak, right? If they are dual, even in the Commonwealth, that's a problem, because we know so well, once they are US citizens, they automatically cannot be. However, now there was the interpretation to say that if they are Commonwealth citizens, then they are good to go. And that's not the case right now, according to Mr. Dabdoob and Mr. Wildman, as it relates to the interpretation of the Constitution. So right now, by virtue of your own act, Mark Golden went and he renewed his passport, I think when he was interviewed, even with this interview with the Fix, I don't think it was an interview that gave some clarity. And at that time, maybe he didn't see it to be a big deal. But, when things started to come to light recently and things like that, for you to say, well, you got a passport as a child and as an adult, you have traveled on your Jamaican documents and things like that. We see a lot going on with the whole Pika thing with Darrell Vaz. I think that needs to be investigated thoroughly. At the end of the day, I don't think any information should be compromised for political gain. However, we have to wait and see how that one play out as well, because I think Mr. Vaz said it is some PNP insider that gave him that information, while some are saying that no, it's not no PNP insider. You're only using or saying that as a smokescreen, because at the end of the day, you got that information by quote unquote illegal means through Pika. I do hope that that is thoroughly investigated so that we can understand and get some clarity as to what was done. Because if there was any crime committed, so to speak, or any breach of the law, then yeah, man, we should we should know. And I don't think anyone should say, well, somebody tell me so, and it should be just accepted as gospel. Yeah, man. I think that people should be held accountable in this case, because at the end of the day, we are talking about data protection. I'm gonna be speaking on needs as well in another presentation. We're gonna be speaking on needs. Yeah, we're gonna break down the needs, because needs is one matter that the government was taken to court by the PNP and the government lost. The court ruled that the format that needs was in. And when I say needs, I'm talking about the national identification system, where all the people's database was stored one place, and they are given a needs card or a needs ID, right? And you can use that to conduct business all over the place. There were some legal problems with that. The PNP took them to court and won, right? So I'm going to speak on that, because as it relates to needs, it's about data protection. And one of the biggest concerns right now, as it relates to needs, is data protection. Nikki Willie, yeah, man, big up yourself, respect for the check-in. Yeah, man, over that little corner here, more time with us, what a little reasoning, and we just do some presentations. Yeah, man, when it comes on to current affair matters and things like that. So we definitely just a little presentation on this whole Mark Golding situation. Mr. Hugh Wildman and Abe Dabdoob, they are saying that the reality is that Mark Golding situation, yeah, it's unconstitutional, because the fact that he went and renewed his passport is in essence a pledge of allegiance to another foreign power or foreign state. Yes, people will say, but based on the constitution, the king is head of state. Yes, but also the UK is a sovereign state, or a sovereign entity, so to speak. So having a UK passport is not the same as having a Jamaican passport. So it is a very serious conversation. It's going to play out. My advice to Mark Golding and people like that in the PNP is for him to give it up. The longer he holds on to it, the more it's going to escalate. I see where this professor, urges constitutional fix amid dual citizenship cascas. I don't know why it's framed that way, to say it's a cascas. And it says wholeness draws flack for joining hubbub. I don't know why they just use these words. I don't know what's the importance of them using these words, because it's coming from a UE professor. Those words have to be used. It's just weird for me. But the reality is that Andrew Owens has commented on it. I think that Andrew Owens' comment, it is politically motivated, as they would say, all is fair, right? People sling mud all the time. We see Mark Golding speaking about illicit six, right? Yeah, we know say that their declarations are outstanding, and in reality, yeah, man, it's 3 years now since Andrew Owens don't declare nothing. The reality is that, none of these people should go into no election next year, right? In this same status. It can't happen. Should not work. We can't call election. As a matter of fact, there should have been no local government election call until these people are cleared. Yeah, that's just the reality more time, because at the end of the day, yes, they might not be the ones running as councillors, but at the same time, they are in parliament, they are in politics, so at the same time, they can have some influence and some sway over their respective candidates and things like that. I think that when it comes on to the next election, yeah, man, these people cannot go into the election with no quote-unquote illicit six hanging over their head, where people are wondering why can't they be properly declared as it relates to their earnings, them declaration, what's going on with that. So it's politics at the end of the day. I think what Andrew Holness said, when Andrew Holness was saying that as a leader, that situation is untenable. The reality is that the Constitution, it is saying, well, based on what Mr. Wildman is saying, that is a fact. Based on what Mr. Wildman is saying and Mr. Dabdu is saying, that that situation is untenable or it is unconstitutional. When Andrew Holness said what he said, people were saying it is politics. But at the same time, it has some degree of merit and it has some degree of political undertone, and we understand that part of it. The problem I have with that statement is that Andrew Holness is saying that it's only a leader thing. But what about the members of parliament who might be dual, but at the same time, when there is an opportunity presented to them for them to be, quote unquote, the leader of the party, right? I can have a UK passport as a member of parliament, but I can hold on to it, right? I can hold on to it as a member of parliament. But when it comes on to a leadership thing now, because I know some Africa run as a leader, yeah, that means I'm going to give that up because I know I wouldn't qualify as leader of the party or as prime minister. I think that is problematic. No people in parliament should have no dual allegiance. And being a dual citizen is, by definition, dual allegiance. Going to renew your passport is a pledge of allegiance. That's just the reality of things. Whether we like it or not, that's just the reality. Big up Delroy Stewart, yeah man, respect for the check-in. Ron Noble, manners and respect me general. It goes a little quick and fast reasoning over here so still. Yeah, Nicky Willie, 3 times still, but I'm just saying, right now, I think it's best for him to just give that up and just close this chapter, because based on what these legal minds are saying as it relates to the Constitution, none of them in parliament, and there should be an investigation as well as to who else in parliament are dual Commonwealth citizens, because the same thing that applies to Mark Gordon is going to apply to them, and irrespective if they are JLP or PNP. And for years, people have been flirting with this thing. Our politicians for years have been flirting with this dual allegiance thing. We remember 2007, right, with what happened to these JLP people, Darrell Vaz, I think Gregory Meir, them, Shaini Robinson, Warmington, I think, so some people like that. But the reality is that members of the JLP had to renounce or leave parliament, and there were by-elections and all that took place. Now, when you look at that and what transpired, people are in parliament and they didn't even see it fit to say, well, so I should not be pledging no allegiance to no dual, country. Is 1 foot in and 1 foot out the right thing? No. So therefore, I should only be committed to Jamaica. These people in 2007 were doing the same thing Mark Golden is doing now. 2008, Danville Walker as director of election. Danville Walker was a dual citizen as well. Danville Walker had US and Jamaican citizenship. Our director of elections. So that's the problem again, because if you have a dual allegiance and you are director of elections, and if World Boss say You know, say right now, I prefer Andrew Holness, yeah, man, above Peter Phillips, So here we go, and I prefer Siaga above Portia, So make sure, say, yeah, man, at that go on. As director of election, you do have certain sway. And this man had a dual citizenship, US and Jamaica, and was director of election. So, for years they have been flirting with this thing. And the Constitution, not to say the Constitution though, these people have been flirting with it. They have had the cover of say, oh, it is Commonwealth, and therefore it is okay. What these men are saying, it's that no. It's not legal. Yeah, Nicky Willie, he was Commissioner of Customs as well. And he was a dual citizen, having dual allegiance. So that is the real problem sometimes when you look at this matter. I think that Mark Golding should not be misled by people on social media. Should not be misled by people on social media, because it's a matter that is going to be hanging around for a while, whether we like it or not. We have to speak about the reality. Section 39 and 40, by virtue of renewing your passport, that is interpreted as a pledge of allegiance. Once you go and renew your passport, it means that you have updated your status, so to speak. So that is in itself a pledge of allegiance, according to what Abe Dabdoob and according to what Abe Dabdoob, right? According to what Abe Dabdoob and Mr. Hugh Wildman is saying, that's definitely a conflict of interest as it relates to Mark Golding. So, the reality is that it is a problematic situation, and I think that it is in the best interest of the People's National Party and Mark Golding that they look at this thing and say, here we go now. This thing here, untenable, and as such, we definitely want to stay away from that.
At a political meeting in Tollgate last evening. Trisha Gay Kelly has this report.
It's a distraction. That's the word from People's National Party PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell in Tollgate, Clarendon on Sunday. Campbell's latest salvo adds to the public debate surrounding the opposition leader's status as a dual citizen of Jamaica and the United Kingdom. Prime Minister and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Andrew Holness, has made it clear that Jamaicans with dual citizenship should not be qualified to head the country's executive branch. Dr. Campbell says the government has gotten itself in a predicament, now noticing that the heat is on, hence the reaction.
The JLP realized that them under pressure. Them say we are going to start saying Mark a British. That they say they will start saying Mark a British. Because Andrew Wallace knows that in the current parliament of the land, he has persons on his side that are dual citizens.
His observations went deep into the past, digging up a 2011 newspaper article in which Holness shared his desire to amend the constitution to have dual citizens sitting in parliament. Dr. Campbell says the Prime Minister's statement that the country's leader cannot be a dual citizen is nonsensical. That's because Jamaica's democracy is built on the Westminster model, a government formed by the political party or coalition that has majority support in the lower house of parliament, which means that the Prime Minister must be a member of Parliament. And if MPs can be dual citizens, what is expected of one who seeks higher office?
Remember, we don't vote for Prime Minister in Jamaica. Remember, we vote for MP. And then the person will come on the majority support from the MPs become Prime Minister. We don't vote for Prime Minister. This is not the US where they vote for the president directly. We don't do that in Jamaica. So for him to suggest something like that means that the Prime Minister is unlearned.
Dr. Campbell also brushed aside the demands to have leader of the opposition Mark Golding declare his status, stating that all parliamentarians would then be required to do the same.
All of this, my brother, to distract from the real issues affecting the country. They don't want you to realize that when you go supermarket, what you could have buy with $20,000 last month, can't buy it this month. Then now you realize that.
On Monday, Minister of Labor and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. also entered the dual citizenship fray, demanding that Golding address alleged misleading statements about his citizenship. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
All right, so that is how, or that's the epitome of what politics looks like, right? And when people are on the campaign trail, yeah, man, that is pretty much how it is. Because the reality is that let Mark Golding, yes, if the JLP wants him to do that, let him do it, and let all members of parliament on the JLP side too, yeah, man, let them do it too. What is wrong with that? So to say that if Mark Golding does it, it's gonna force the JLP to do the same, yeah, man, that is what should happen. So at least we the people will know. So well, at the end of the day, there were some people on the other side too who are dual. So if based on Mr. Wildman and Mr. Abe Dabdoob's interpretation of section 39 and 40 of the Constitution, right? Subsection 2, where it states that, the act of, pledging allegiance by renewing the passport, that is in essence an act of pledging allegiance. So the funny thing is this: why are these people so invested in having dual allegiance in parliament? Even with Andrew Onless 2011 stance. Yes, that's his stance, but that don't mean say it's the right stance. And I think the people as well at this point in time should really push back at this situation. There should not be no dual allegiance in our House of Parliament, because at the end of the day, we don't want to have people, right, in positions of power where we have to be questioning their loyalty to Jamaica. In America, right, if there is anyone who is a U.S. citizen and is serving in the interest of another country, they have to register as a foreign agent. They have to register as a foreign agent. I don't know if ones and ones might be familiar. There was a New Jersey senator named Bob Menendez or Robert Menendez, right? Yeah, I think them did raid him house and charge for some say being a foreign agent, meaning say acting on behalf of foreign countries covertly. We have seen many other ones and ones, in a, I think Paul Manafort, where did they run Trump or them one day. Long story short though, we have seen other powerful people in America, yeah man, being charged for serving as a foreign agent because they did not declare it. So at the end of the day, we having these dual allegiance in our parliament is a problem. Rowan Noble, you say I'm for the PNP, but I'm for the PNP, but I do not agree with the dual thing. I totally agree with you, Rowan. The problem I have is that people who claim that they're for the PNP, right, are trying to deflect with this thing. Because at the end of the day, this is a conversation that it come at the right time as well when we are going through a constitutional reform process. Because I don't think that we should have these dual allegiance in our parliament. And it doesn't matter who it is. So I don't agree with Andrew Onless wording it in a way where it's applicable only to leader. And he was careful in how he crafted the words, because he knows for a fact that there are other members, even in his party, who are dual, but they are Commonwealth. Well, even if they are Commonwealth, that is still a problem. That is a problem. Even as it relates to what Mr. Wildman and what Mr. Abe Dabdoob is actually saying. Yeah, man, courteous manners and respect, man. Big up yourself in a general. So what I'm saying is that we should not be having no dual allegiance in our parliament. And I don't know why from 2007 up until now, that's what, 17 years, let's say 16, 17 years, right? After going through that, where the People's National Party sued JLP members who were dual, were taken to court and they lost, and by elections and yada yada. All of that played out. But at the same time, here we are 17 years after, still in this dual allegiance conundrum. What the Abe Dabdoob and Hugh Wildman are saying, the Constitution does not accommodate dual allegiance. So that whole Commonwealth conversation is null and void, because the Constitution says you should not have no dual allegiance, no allegiance to a foreign power if you want to sit in the House, whether as a member of Parliament or a senator. None whatsoever. You can't. So I'm saying, on the political campaign trail now, Dr. Dayton Campbell saying this to some politically charged and tribal people, that don't mean nothing at the end of the day when it comes down to the real essence of the matter. You talking to some people who might be in some orange shirt and make a bag of noise or whatever. They don't really care. They don't really understand even what's going on. A lot of them don't understand what's going on. So at the same time, what I found very strange too is that in a matter of this nature, we have not seen a united front from the PNP to say officially we stand with Mark Golding and his position at this time. We hear one and two talk going around and them I say, well, this is distraction and this is this and this is that, but we not hear like nothing official. I come from the People's National Party where we actually say, well, say the thing that we stand with Mark Golding, Yeah, man, we stand with Mark Golding because at the end of the day, yeah, man, he is in his capacity as leader of the opposition is a legitimate one. We not seen nothing official come out from the People's National Party. And this is a situation where the leader needs all the support he can get. And I don't see, a united front being displayed officially to say, yeah, I stand with Mark Golding. Yeah, man, Ron Nobleman definitely have conflict of interest. It's something we need to throw out the window right now, so to speak. It just can't look good. It don't look right. You can't have the dual allegiance. As Nikki Williams said, I don't think dual citizenship people should be making decisions for the country. If there is a major catastrophe, all of them are leaving and not staying to suffer. No, in a real life. And people, whether they like it or not, Mark Golding can get up and leave tomorrow and go to England, and there is nothing that anyone can do about it. So that's just the reality of things. Moodman, yeah, manners and respect, me general, for the check-in. So the essence of the conversation is that it's something that you should not be playing around with, just to hold on to it because it is sentimental to you. Let the JLP also expose themselves in terms of who they have in parliament, who have dual allegiance to, because it is a problem. And we keep on flirting with it all the time. We saw it in 07. We saw it with Danville Walker them, right? We are seeing it playing out right now, and everyone is flirting with it, especially at a critical time when there is constitutional reform going on. I think that we should take this matter very seriously. And this matter should be a matter of national importance. There should be absolutely no dual allegiance in Parliament, whether it might be Commonwealth or not. These things should be thrown out the window. One allegiance, and that's to Jamaica. You want to serve the country? Yeah, man, let us know that you are 100% committed. But you can't say you want to serve the country and we have to be asking the question, how committed are you? Are you 50-50? Are you even like 60% towards the next country and 40% towards Jamaica? These are matters that are very important because one, as parliamentarians, they are members of committees, as leader of the country and leader of the opposition, you are privy to certain, classified, information. So at the end of the day, there should be no question about your loyalty, or there should be no question about your allegiance, especially when you are privy to these classified briefing and things like that. So my point is, there should be just absolutely no dual allegiance in our parliament. We should stop playing politics with this. the PNP supporters who are putting tribalism above the reality and what's good for Jamaica, they also need to step away from that, because the reality is that their presence even on social media, if Mark Golding looks at that and he say, well, the people are, in favor of me, so I'll keep it. Last week he said that he will let the people decide. I don't think that was a wise statement, because at the end of the day, if nobody says, okay, we're not going to say nothing about it, you're going to keep it. That's what you're saying, Mark Golding, respectfully. You're saying, if the people says nothing, then you will do nothing. I mean, as leader of the opposition, I don't think you should be saying those things, because you are opening Pandora's box. You are opening a can of worm to show that you are sentimental attached to this thing, and your allegiance is going to come into question. You said it on the fix. You said it on the fix. You said that it's not something for you to be comfortable with. You're not comfortable with it in your capacity as leader. You said it. So that fixed interview is here to stay. It can't go nowhere. And your own words will come back and haunt you. So you just have to do the right thing, right? Get this thing out the way. Let them pressure the other members of parliament as well, who are duals, and let them renounce or they step aside too. It's simple as that. But we can't have that dual allegiance thing in our parliament. It just don't sound right. It is unethical. It goes against principle, and it goes against the Constitution. And I agree with Mr. Wildman and Mr. Dabdoob, because by virtue of you renewing your passport, it's an adjustment to your status in terms of to say, well, yeah, man, I have a British passport now. Yeah, that is an adjustment. You can't go around that conversation. And that's the reason why, if Mark Golding had gotten the passport as a child and didn't renew at all, then it would have been a different conversation. But the fact that he renewed it, by him renewing it, that is definitely, an act of allegiance. Because remember, you have to fill out the whole application form or whatever, and declare this and declare that and all those things. So by virtue of doing that, going through that process, that is an act of allegiance. That is what section 39 and 40, subsection 2 is saying in the Constitution. And that's the reason why constitutions are not, say, a lot of things in the Constitution, they are not absolute, in the sense that, yes, they cannot be, overruled. It's up for interpretation. And we have seen many amendments to the Constitution as a result of these interpretations, yeah. But what I'm saying is that Mark Golding is all about full decolonization, right? And that is fair enough with me. And I honestly think that it entails you having only your allegiance to Jamaica. That is also an aspect of decolonization. If we are talking about decolonization as it relates to severing ties from the crown, then of course we can't have our parliamentarians with dual, allegiance in our parliament. That just can't sit right. It does not sit right. It don't look good, right? And as me say, it doesn't make any sense. We try to beat around the bush on this one. Now is the time for us to actually, pressure the powers that be, for them to get this thing settled once and for all. Because for too long, people have been flirting with this thing. We have people all over the place in positions of government who their allegiance is questionable because it is dual. Yeah, man, we cannot have this. In Germany, France, all the countries, even the Middle East, even in Africa, people are mindful of that. You get what I'm saying? So it just don't look good. It can't look good. Mark Golding should not play into the hands of the people on social media who are looking from it from a tribal perspective and say, oh, Andrew Onless pledge allegiance to the king because he's privy council, and you try to compare that and put it as an argument to say it equates to what Mark Golin has done or is in right now. You know, that is a poor argument. And that is an argument that we should not be, parroting over the place. Because at the end of the day, Mark Golin have a UK passport. Mark Golin is a UK citizen. Andrew Holness is not. So if we compare that, it's a totally different ball game. And I don't think we should play into those hands because that's misleading. That is misleading. And we are in time and place where, things can be very, very misleading. That's just the reality of things. Because I saw where even when Labor Day, there was Mark Golding and Andrew Holness, and them politicize it. You get what I say? We see PJ Patterson was at Sabina Park, right? PJ Patterson was at Sabina Park, and the people were saying that, well, Babsy Green sidestep him and what heap of stylings go on and them something there. But all right, this is a video. This is from Andrew Holness's Instagram page.
Big Gabriel, well, I'm open to the council. And the game I don't want to disturb. It's good to see you. Big Gabriel, well, I'm open to the council. And the game I don't want to disturb. It's good to see you. Big Gabriel, well, I'm open to the council. And the game I don't want to disturb. It's good to see you. Big Gabriel, well, I'm open to the council. And the game I don't want to.
All right, so this is because there is a conversation around the place right now, There's a conversation around the place right now, right? Whereas they are saying that Babsy Grange disrespected PJ Patterson and things like that, right? And there's some misinformation. Big up to Merkaba 360 in the building, Yeah, man, as I'm respecting them in general. Yeah, man. Big up to Hannibal, Yeah, man. Big up yourself. You know what the thing go. All right, so this is where we have Andrew Holness and PJ agree, but his Babsy was really at the front desk. And people kind of turn the thing in a way where it's more like a tribal settings where people are say, well, sir, Babsy Green style, PJ Patterson and things like that. And me I say, boy, in everything, we have to put political tribalism at the forefront. And it is just sad to say, though. It is really sad to say. And the problem is we have too much people on the internet propagating some tribalism. You understand me? I say, yeah, man, too much people on the internet propagating tribalism. Because the reality is that, nothing like that never go on. You understand me? I say, yeah, Nicky Willie, yeah, man, them out a curse people, them a style people, them a disrespect people. You get what I say? Yeah, man, me see, remember, I actually played a video one time of another PNP vlogger named Jamaican Carlos, and he was saying that, oh, I'm going to expose Mr. Vegas and him have Mr. Vegas file and whatever. Just because Mr. Vegas is really the one who really kind of amplified this thing, You get what I say? And it really become a national conversation. So I look at them and say, but hold on. But Carlos and them man, when them man start out at the UIC, them man, they say fully, Them man did a burn out PNP and a burn out JLP and a UIC, them man they did say. Fully UIC. And all of a sudden now, a PNP them there. So, sometimes we have to just watch them flip-flop as them more time to. Or people who just want some people to lead them. You get what I say? Yeah, a lot of these people, they come out every day and they just try to pander towards a certain audience. They want to pander towards a certain people. They want to know, say, all right, here go on now. I'm go forward out, I'm just going to beat bro God. Yeah, man. And people just cheer it on. But it begs the question, are what you saying factual? or you just preach to a choir and everybody are sing from the same hymn book. Because at the end of the day, for them to say that Babsy Green's style PJ, you know, yeah, me not gonna say that right. Me not gonna say that's correct. That's mischievous because nothing go so. But this is a Jamaica Observer article, you know, and it says Greens suggests mischief by PNP social media activists. And you know, when it come on to the PNP social media activists, the YouTube space, yeah man, YouTube space not normal as well. I mean, JLP have people over here still too, but I think that the PNP is more dominant. You know, PNP them dominate the social media platform in the context of YouTube. So you know how that goes. You know, them kind of frame a narrative, and you will realize that they all sing from the same hymn book. You know, because even in this Mr. Hugh Wildman and Abe Dabdu position that states that Section 39 and Section 40, subsection 2 of the Constitution would disqualify Mark Golding in his current status and would disqualify any other MP who are in that dual allegiance status right now. The PNP vloggers them now reason from a perspective to say, well, you know, so that's in a real life though, this thing is a serious thing. And it's going to affect everyone across the board, not just one party. And that's a good thing for the country when it's a bipartisan effect. So here we go now. Yeah, Mark Golding, give up the thing, because that means that other people in the JLP will have to give up theirs as well. And as such, they will be quote unquote exposed. Yes, so go ahead and give that up, Mark. At Jamaica, you're born, your allegiance is to Jamaica. Yeah, man, let it go and just get that out the way. No. They are out here, right? Deflecting. I just make up things more time just to distract from the reality of the conversation. So this was a cricket match, you know, for those who follow up cricket, you know, West Indies played South Africa at Sabina Park. And you know the thing go. PJ was there and Andrew Wallace passed through and Babsy and things like that. And, you know, people are saying that, you know, Olivia Babsy Green style PJ Patterson. But let me just read the Jamaica Observer article there. Sports Minister Olivia Babsy Grange is suggesting that mischief was at play in a social media repost of a photograph on her Instagram page showing Prime Minister Andrew Onless and former Prime Minister PJ Patterson at Sabina Park on Saturday during the second T20 international cricket match between West Indies and South Africa. So, you know, yeah, you have vloggers who, you know, have it and they say that's Babsy style, PG and things like that. But, you know, I honestly think that we should just, you know, call a spade, man. When there is nothing, don't turn, you know, nothing into something. You know, when a politics time, I understand it can get very tribal. You understand me? I say it can get very tribal, but at the same time, you know, it should not be that tribal where you make up something out of nothing, so to speak. You know, yeah, man. PJ and Andrew Onless them. When PJ transition, all of them will be at his funeral eulogizing him. We have seen, even with the Abe Dabdoob situation, right? Abe Dabdoob was a JLP member, then him crossed the aisle to the PNP, and then him exposed whatever. So it just goes to show, you know, even politicians as well don't have no allegiance and no loyalty. In recent times, we saw, I think he was, what's his name again? Mr. Ian Eels. Yeah, if memory serves me right. You know, Mr. Ian Eels. We see Venetia Phillips. You know, them people that just cross the aisle and gone on the next side. And the party that they were once with, them turn around and accost them off and bear things. So these are things that we as people have to look at and understand how politics is. So we are, you know, we're not too emotionally invested in it. Whereas we dislike each other on the internet, or we start to express the form of hunger and bitterness towards someone because of their you know, political perspective or persuasion. Me no feel say we must be so emotionally invested towards these people who at any point in time can just switch up. Any point in time they can just cross the aisle and they are accepted in a real life. All right. I don't know if you guys remember that video with George Wright. Remember when Mark Golding was doing his budget speech, right? And he started to call out the whole Miss Juliet Oldness and say, boy, she hold back certain documents and things like that. And it created one big firestorm. There was a walkout. And then I look on George Wright, I say, you know, yeah, man, stay over there, so whatever. Listen me, if George Wright is to come to them tomorrow and say, I want to join the PNP, them grab him with open arms in a real life. In a real life. So it just goes to show and point out that when it comes down to politics, right, it is a very, very toxic thing when it's ready. And it can also be a thing where there is no absolute allegiance. Even with these politicians, there is no absolute allegiance where a man say, here, a straight PNP. People will just switch and say, here, JLP, no, you know, that's a gone. Because of their personal interest, what is in their personal interest. So there's no allegiance from these people. These people are in parliament and they have a dual allegiance status. There's no allegiance from them. People are director of elections. You know, yeah. And you have a dual allegiance. So there are many things that is done. You get what I say? The appointment of Chief Justice in a temporary capacity and all those things. There are things that are done where you know, so here go on. It don't look right. You know, it cannot sit right. But people just do it for whatever reason. So when it comes on to politics, man, I think we should look at it from a critical lens, not just based on political tribalism or, you know, our affiliation. You know, that is just where it is with me. So I just want to say thank you all for checking out the platform. Yeah, man, greatly appreciate the support. 19 people there. Big up on yourself. We'll catch up on the next one still. I'm going to be speaking on a couple other things, man. I'm going to speak on the needs as well. And we're definitely going to be speaking on the Constitution because there are a number of things in it that I definitely want to expound on as well. So you will definitely, you know, definitely stay tuned. Just make sure that you have subscribed and hit the notification bell all so that whenever I go live, you will catch the live and we can definitely have a bill in terms of, you know, exchanging the information. All right. So big up on yourself. It's manners and respect. Greatly appreciate all the ones and ones who check in. At Root, bless up yourself. Merkaba 360, Nikki Willie. Big up to Hannibal. Big up to Moodman, Ruan Noble. You know the thing, Courteous. Manners and respect, me General Vioni All. You know, Delroy Stewart. You know, big up yourself. You know the thing, James Bond. Yeah, man, respect for the check-in as well, me General. So, you know all the thing of people. It's manners and respect, you know. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, man. And we greatly appreciate the support. And for those who this video might be suggested by YouTube, yeah, man, you can please also, you know, check out the video. Leave a like. You can also share and subscribe because we'll definitely be doing a lot of work on this platform as well. You know, it's a small one still, but yeah, man, we're building it step by step, brick by brick. So it's not about the numbers as well. It's about the substance of the argument. And that is where I pride myself in, the substance of the argument. Because it doesn't make any sense. Me have 1,000 people here and me there talk pure foolishness. You know, it makes sense. Me have 500 people, 400 people, and me there here talking foolishness. I rather be speaking some things of substance and value as it relates to intellectual conversations, as it relates to edifying each other. Even in these political conversations as well, you know, I think that we should engage to edify, you know, not to display how political we are or where our allegiance is as it relates to our political affiliation. I just think that we should speak on matters from a perspective where it is the essence of the matter and not about us deflecting. Mark Golden knows within himself, he said it on the fix, that his situation as a dual UK and Jamaican citizen is a problem. It is a problem. He's not comfortable with it. You know, those were his words. So at the end of the day, it is there for the record that he himself has admitted, that his situation as it relates to his dual allegiance status, yeah, it is not ideal for him. So it's up to him now to do the right thing, which respectfully he has to do it. He has to do it. He has to do it. Because there will be certain challenges. There will be challenges coming forward, man. You know, soon we see various civic groups and various type of groups will pressure him. You understand me? I say, but at the same time too, they are very mindful of the fact that the same challenge that they're gonna challenge Mark Golding, that challenge will be applicable to JLP MPs who are also dual citizens. So it's a matter of politics. But if we look at it from a matter of what is in Jamaica's interest, we should not have none of these people in parliament with no dual allegiance, whether it might be Commonwealth or not. None of them should be there. You know, none of them at all. One allegiance, and that's to Jamaica. That is where it should be if you want to serve the country in a capacity in parliament. So that is right there. So that's my position, and I'm going to stand on that position because I think that is the right thing to do. No dual allegiance, no dual passport settings where we have to question your loyalty or your allegiance. And Andrew only say, as leader, yeah, it cannot only be narrowed down to the leader, all parliamentarians, because what you're doing, you're creating room for corruption to take place. I can be an MP and I can retain my dual status. And for years, I can keep it. But when I see an opportunity to run as party leader, right, or to run to say, you know, control the country and whatever, I am going to give that up just for that convenience. No, that cannot sit right. It cannot sit right with no well-thinking person. So these are the conversations that we're having. You know how the thing go, man. You understand me? I say, yeah, man, I'm courteous. You know the thing go in a family. Yeah, man. So I just saw we deal with it more time. So these are conversations that we have to have. I think public engagement is very important. Public awareness is very important. The problem is misinformation as well. A lot of misinformation is out in the space. A lot of people are speaking on partisan, tribal, political lines. And as such, you know, they put a little bit of truth and they sprinkle it with some lies and some conspiracy theories and deflecting and some apples and orange settings, you know, straw man fallacies and things like that. You know, they present that as a means of deflecting, and people blindly follow along and say, well, oh, that man, they said to me, I work with that. Because Babsy Grange is right. I did see people on social media, even on the YouTube space, saying they disrespected PJ Patterson. And you know, I don't see where, you know, show the proof, show the evidence that she did. You know, so these are the things, people, we have to be very mindful of, that in the space, you know, a lot of tribalism is out there. I think that people are free to choose a side. I think that people are free to, you know, have a political affiliation. You know, yeah, it's a matter of choice. But at the same time, look at the substance of the argument. Don't be blinded by talking points. You know, I just want to implore people to apply critical thinking to the information being conveyed to you. Because at the end of the day, don't make your blind loyalty or blind allegiance cloud your judgment, where you suspend critical thinking and you just accept things to be so without any evidence or any proof. You know, we should always look at the information not from political lens, but from a critical, analytical, you know, objective eye. So big up on yourself again. Remember, drop a like on your way out. Greatly appreciate, you know, the ones and ones being here. So I'll catch you on our next one.